good to see a lot of energy in the room. I'm Larissa Salles. I'm a first-year student here at Fuqua Business School, and I'm honored to introduce our next speaker for the Power Pitch. She's Jenna Winner, is a 2019 dual degree member alumni, and during her time at Duke, she studied finance and energy. She served as a cabinet member in the Energy Club, Member Club, Association of Human and Business, and Gender Equity Working Groups. She was a Fuqua Scholar and received the Brendan Award in Finance. She now works at AES on the corporate mergers and acquisitions teams, where she drives major transformational transactions that accelerate the energy transition. AES, one of our sponsors today, is a Fortune 500 global energy company devoted to delivering greener, smarter energy solutions the world needs. Please join me welcoming Gina to the stage.
How do we decarbonize our power system? There have been a lot of interesting conversations here today, and the one thing I know to be true is that this is going to be very difficult. So how do we do it? We do it by accelerating the future of energy together. Let's break this down into its three parts. First, accelerating. Know your audience, right? I don't need to tell you all how dire the climate crisis is. This is no longer a future generation's problem. This is our problem today. We're already starting to see the impacts of climate change, and it is only going to get exponentially worse. So we need to move fast, very, very fast. One of the ways that AES is stepping on the accelerator is through Project Atlas, a first-of-its-kind solar installation robot. In order to meet net zero by 2050, we're going to have to install 3 times the amount of solar we did last year every year. That's a monumental task. And to be able to do it, we're going to have to substantially accelerate the build-out of solar. And Atlas does just that. Atlas increases efficiency and reduces panel installation time by half. Now, I'm not sure the last time you carried a solar module, but they're very big and very heavy. I'm talking like full dining room table size that fits your whole family, and like maybe is made out of solid oak. And the thing is that these panels are getting even bigger and even heavier, which makes installing solar even riskier and even more time consuming. And Atlas provides a solution by automating these repetitive and time consuming tasks. And now we're currently testing Atlas with our partner Cavalry Robotics at a few sites, and we ultimately envision having a fleet of Atlases that can be transported between sites to accelerate the build-out of our solar pipeline. Now, the second part of this solution is future of energy. It's 2022. The future is here. Who here can tell me who this guy is? Feel free to just call it out. Exactly, George Jetson. But did you know that George was born 101 days ago? The future's here. George is alive. Building the future of energy is going to require a lot of innovation and forward thinking. And that's exactly what we did when we created our first of its kind 24/7 carbon-free energy product. To fully decarbonize the system, all of our energy is going to have to come from carbon-free energy sources. That's the future. And historically, this was difficult because of the intermittency of renewables. But we cracked the code with our 24/7 carbon-free energy product. And here you see an example of how this product works. So some of our commercial and industrial customers like Google and Microsoft have data centers. And data centers typically have flat demand, as you can see in the black dotted line here. Now, the trick was, when these data centers buy energy from a single wind or a single solar project, then in some hours they'll have too much energy, and in some hours too little energy. Instead, we created a portfolio of different projects and different technologies to create one single high-value product. And the key here, the glue that holds this all together, is the battery energy storage. We used our proprietary insights to shift the energy to the times the customer actually needs it. And you can see here that in any given hour, sometimes the energy comes from solar, sometimes from wind, sometimes the battery energy storage is being charged, and sometimes it's being discharged. So we went beyond just a single typical project and created a portfolio that actually meets our customers' needs on an hourly basis. And this is just one example of the innovations that comes from the many groups across AES focused on building new businesses and new products. Innovation is part of our DNA, and we're constantly innovating to bring forward the future of energy. Now, the last part of this is my favorite. Together. And when I say together, I mean together on every level, all the way from partnerships with governments and corporations to the individuals who must work together to make this happen. We all play a role here. My mentor always says to me that nobody can have everything, but everyone's got something. And solving one of the world's most challenging problems is going to require a really large table with a diverse set of somethings. But that something that you bring better be something you are really passionate about and that really motivates you. Because let me tell you, this industry, while beautiful, is also challenging. It is full of really high highs and really low lows. Take the Build Back Better saga as an example. A game-changing piece of legislation that was going to substantially accelerate the build-out of renewables through economic incentives. And at first, when we thought it was going to pass, we were on top of the world because the world was finally going to be saved. And then it died, crushing all of our dreams and hopes. And then it came back to life, restoring our faith in humanity, only to die again. And then the Inflation Reduction Act, also known as the Build Back Better doppelganger, pulls through for the win. This industry is full of ups and downs. It's an emotional roller coaster. So your something better light that fire in you, or else you might burn out. And we can't afford to burn out. The stakes are too high here. So the question then becomes, how do you find your something? Or maybe you already have your something, but it doesn't really fit you anymore. And that's okay, because we're humans, we evolve. So maybe you need to find something new. I can't tell you how to find your something, but I can tell you a little bit about how I found my something, and it has a lot to do with my story here from when I was at Fuqua. And I remember walking in these halls in 2016 for the first time and saying to myself, I was going to get uncomfortable. And so that meant, for me, I was going to sign up for finance classes, because numbers are scary, right? And so I remember walking into the classroom that's back behind the cafeteria for the first time and looking up at the back row and thinking, I'd like to sit there, right? Because it's easy to hide when you're in the back. But instead, I walked to the front row and sat down, which means you're stuck there for the rest of the course. So why did I sit in the front row? Some of my friends, actually some of them are here today, might tell you that I was a little bit of a gunner. But the main reason was because being one of the only few women in a classroom can be really intimidating and very uncomfortable. So by sitting in the front row, I could kind of put these blinders on where it was just me and the lecturer and my front row crew, Jared and Mike. And by doing this, it kind of made it less intimidating for me, and it was easier to engage. I didn't have to look over a sea of men raising their hands. And so that's how I found my something. I embraced the fear. I tried new things. I signed up for the uncomfortable classes and the uncomfortable activities and tricked myself into being brave even when I wasn't, and finding ways to make myself feel like I belonged even when I didn't. And so now today, my something that I bring to the table is I do M&A in the energy transition space, working on transactions that are driving one of the most radical transformations of a company and driving forward our strategy to be the leading energy transition company in the world. And so together, with all of our somethings, we have the skill set, the motivation, the drive, the endurance to solve the world's most challenging problem, and I wholeheartedly believe that we can do it. Frankly, because the alternative is not an option. I don't accept it. So my challenge to everyone here today is to try new things, embrace the fear, find your something, and then accelerate the future of energy together. Thanks for having me here. It's like coming home.
Jenna, thank you for that thought-provoking power pitch. The audience here is interested in knowing, how does AES, a large corporation, maintain a culture of innovation?
Absolutely. It's something that we are incredibly intentional about. We have an innovation operating system that permeates through all aspects of the business. So not only do we have specific groups and several groups across the organization focused on building new businesses and new products like I talked about, but everyone within their groups are encouraged and also pushed to find new innovative ideas. So for example, in my group specifically, every single year I am asked to do a thought piece. So I have to come up with a new investment idea, a new idea of what AES can do differently. So it's part of our DNA. We're very, very intentional about being an innovative company and making sure we're pushing forward the future of energy.
Excellent. Another follow-up question then here is, what do you think is the coolest innovation AES has invested in?
Well, I did pick two of my favorite topics to talk about today, Atlas and 24/7 carbon-free energy. Another one to add on to that is, I would say our investment in, our growth of Fluence. So Fluence originally started as AES Energy Storage over a decade ago. We had an idea and a vision that storage was going to be a thing. So we built it out. And then we brought in Siemens as our partner, and we wanted to make sure we had a strategic partnership. Siemens brought a lot to the table, access to customers, and so we spun it out and grew it with Siemens, and then last year we IPO'd Fluence.
This one's a nice specific one that really relates to your topic today. For the students in the room that are interested in your career path, what advice do you have for someone interested in energy finance?
Energy finance. I would say, other than find your passion, I would say don't get distracted, especially when you're in business school, because a lot of your peers are getting internships and getting offers very, very early. The coolest energy finance jobs, you gotta wait for. So it's very intimidating and very scary when all of your peers have their offers and you're waiting it out. And so I know when I graduated, I had 3 offers that I turned down all of them and graduated without a job. That was very, very scary, but I knew what I was specific about what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was not going to settle. So know what you want to do, don't settle, and go for it. Thank you all.